Hey, what's up everybody? Casey Cooper here, and today I'm working with Sweetwater to celebrate content creators. Whether you're a YouTuber, a vlogger, a blogger, a podcaster, a social media influencer, whatever, we know that you're working hard to create awesome content that inspires people around the world, and we want to reward and celebrate that. I'm a content creator myself. I know it's a lot of hard work, but I know it is super awesome. And that's why if you're not already a content creator, but you've always wanted to be one, today I want to inspire you to take that first step, and I want to offer everybody out there a little help to help make the audio in their YouTube videos the best that it can be. So today we're talking 7 audio tips for YouTubers. Let's get started now. Alright, so tip number 1 is that even one microphone can make a huge difference in your productions. Example, right now I'm talking to the onboard mic on my Canon DSLR. Now I'm talking to the F1 field recorder from Zoom with a shotgun mic attachment that is recording my voice as well. And that's what I'm using for the main portion of this video. You can hear that there is a huge difference right away. That can make a big difference in your productions. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the F1 field recorder from Zoom, but I love it because it is a great entry-level and affordable piece of recording equipment that you can do a lot with. You can attach different mic capsules to it. The shotgun mic on it is great. You record to micro SD cards. You can actually put it on your camera, and you can run a cable from the mic to the camera so that you can record directly into the camera onto the video. There's so much you can do with that. And another example of this F1 here that's really great is that it doesn't just record voice, it can also record drums or anything else you want to use for it, better than the camera mic on your Canon. So check this out. I'm going to turn this towards the drums, turn the gain down on it, and we're going to see how it sounds on drums. And that's not even best case scenario. The microphone can be placed in front of the kit, aimed towards the snare and kick drum, and it can sound even better. But I just wanted to show you how a single mic can make a big difference in your productions really quickly. Now, that brings us to tip number 2, and that's exactly what I just did. It's adjust the gain structure of the microphone you're working with. This can be true in almost every situation, whether you're using a nice preamp, if you're using an F1 recorder like this that has a gain structure on it, even some onboard things like iPhone mics, DSLR mics and stuff can oftentimes be adjusted on the gain. And so when you're talking to the camera, your voice is at a much lower level than when you're playing drums or you're playing guitar out of an amp. And so what you want to do is you want to go in and turn that gain sensitivity down. I just used about a 2.5, actually about a 2 on the drum set over here, and right now I'm using about an 8 on the voice. And what you do is you just go in and you find where that peak point is. And so if you're using a preamp, it shows up red when it's turned up too high, the gain is too hot. If you're using a microphone like this Zoom, there's actually a digital bar that kind of shows you the input level. And oftentimes cameras and other devices like that have those settings as well. But just changing the gain on the devices you already have can make sure that you're not peaking the gain structure on the preamps, you're not peaking the microphones. Hey guys, I wanted to take a second and let you know about a special promotion Sweetwater and I are putting on. It is the Casey Cooper Content Creator Pack. And so what we've done is we've created a pack on Sweetwater's website where you're able to get many of my favorite pieces of equipment that I use to create my YouTube videos for a reduced price because it's all packaged together. And we really just want to celebrate and reward content creators and give you guys the best tools for the job to create awesome content and inspire and entertain people around the world. Alright, so the next tip is ensuring that you use the right microphone for the right situation. If you're in a noisy environment, you want to make sure that your microphone is capturing the source of the audio that you're looking for and not all of the room, not the talking around you, not the external, music or someone playing something in the background. There's a lot of difficulties when producing content in noisy rooms, even if it's just your air conditioner that's making a lot of noise. And so in this situation, I'm actually using a shotgun mic. And shotgun mics are specifically designed to capture very directional audio. Their rear and side rejection of other sounds is very impressive. And so in many scenarios, you'll see like on movie sets and stuff, when they hold a microphone up over a group of people, that's a shotgun mic that is capturing the directional audio of the people that it's aimed at, and they're talking or they're doing whatever for the scene. And so a shotgun mic is super great for talking and for capturing that directional audio. In many scenarios, if you have a condenser microphone, those are super clear. They really find like a transparent sound of what's going on, so you kind of hear like every detail, which is great for recording vocals. It's great for recording instruments that you want to hear all those details. But if you take that condenser microphone outside and you go use it in many real world situations, you're going to capture all the sounds around you, and it's not going to be super clear like a shotgun will allow you to kind of get in there and get the exact sound you're looking for from the vocals or whatever. And so considering the type of mic for your production is very important as well. All right, so we already talked about only having one microphone, but having multiple microphones and multiple preamps can be a huge benefit to your productions, especially if you're a drummer or if you're trying to record a band. And so in this scenario, that's when you start looking at interfaces and preamps. And so one thing that I love to recommend is this Focusrite Scarlett 18i8. And this is what I take with me for many productions. I've recorded orchestras with it, I've recorded interviews with it, I've recorded like podcasts with it, I've recorded a lot of videos and live rehearsals and productions with this thing. It has 4 preamps in it, so you get to bring 4 microphones, and if I'm miking just my kit, I love to do kick, snare, overhead, overhead, and then you get a full stereo image of the kit, and you get that close miking of the kick and snare, so you can turn those up in the mix and do a little EQ on those by themselves. So an interface like this can be a huge help to you if you go out and you're trying to record something live, or if you're trying to put together a studio and you want the best sound out of your drums. Now, if you want the best sound out of your drums, you probably want to get 8 preamps so that you can close mic a kick, snare, up to 3 toms, 2 overheads, and then maybe even close mic a hi-hat or close mic a ride, or have a room microphone or room microphones. And so then you want to look at something a little bit bigger. Now, the Scarlett here also has an 18i20, which has 8 XLR preamps, and that's the one I would recommend for you if you're on more of a budget. It's great, it's super awesome, you will not have any issues with it. But if you have a little bit bigger of a budget, you can upgrade to something like this, which is the Claret 8preX, which is Thunderbolt. They also have a USB version, I believe. And this thing has even better preamps in it. There's a lot of features that this has that you'll get out of the Claret range instead of the Scarlett. But there is a big jump in price as well, so you have to consider that. But at the end of the day, being able to close mic each of your drums or close mic multiple instruments at the same time can be a huge win for your production. And at that point, you definitely want to start working on your engineering skills too. Now, speaking of engineering skills, don't be afraid or too prideful to outsource some of your engineering work. For me, I spent many years just doing it all myself, and although I've learned a lot and I've gotten much better, I'm not the best audio engineer on the entire planet. And so I will say that sometimes for a really important production, it is just a good idea to find someone who is incredibly good at what they do and outsource that audio engineering, depending on how many hours it takes and the rate of the different people that you find. It doesn't have to be a super expensive process, especially if you find someone who believes in what you're doing and wants to help you create great content. And so many of my most recent videos that I really, really care about, I've gotten outside engineers to work on with me, and I'm just so happy with the results because I can focus more on the content than focus on the audio engineering side, and it sounds even better in the end. So just a little side note for you. Okay, so another really important tip here that can affect the gear that you already have is the fact that you just need to move the mic closer. It seems like a hilariously easy thing, but oftentimes you have a microphone that attaches to your camera and it plugs into your camera, and so you use it on the camera, but because you're using it on the camera, you're using it further away from the source than it needs to be. And so no matter what microphone you have, in almost every situation, having the microphone closer to the source of the audio you're trying to capture is going to do a better job. Alright, so right now I'm talking to my F1 field recorder, but it's back on the camera instead of boomed over me where it's been for most of this video. And you should be able to hear a difference between this and now. And now I'm talking to the same microphone right above me, boomed in, capturing my voice much better because it's closer. And it's still not in the main shot because I used a mic stand and I boomed it over it and it's just above the shot. But it is capturing the audio much nicer. And another thing about it is it also depends on the room noise, like we talked about earlier. If your room is too noisy, if your environment is too noisy, the closer you can get the microphone, the better. In this situation, I have a very well soundproofed studio, and I don't have like any noise in here right now. So even on the microphone, you're going to get, even on the camera, you're going to get a good sound. But when it's boomed in closer, you're going to get an even better sound. So get the mic as close as you can, and if you need to, you can use an XLR to a preamp, or you can get a longer cable that connects to your camera if you still want to connect it direct in and record it direct to the camera audio. Alright, so last tip that I have for you guys is to check your audio on multiple sources. Now, many of you may already do this, but one thing to remember is that your audio is not going to sound the same on your laptop as it is on someone else's laptop, on your phone as it is on someone else's phone. You also have to remember that in most environments, that's going to be what people are listening to your YouTube content on. So you have to keep that in mind when mixing your audio. And so in many cases, best case scenario is to get studio monitors because they have a flat response, and having a more flat response allows you to mix something that is more flat in nature, so it sounds generally the same across most audio sources. These right here are the PreSonus Aris E5s. These are some of the best entry-level budget studio monitors out there. They're small, they're portable, and they do a great job. Now, if you see in the background here, I also have 3 other monitors in my control room, and so these I use in my live room and I use in my green room, and I check the mix on these. But I also check the mix on the main monitors in here. So I have JBL 8-inch KRK VXT4 monitors, Avantone 5-inch monitors up here, the red cubes. And so each one of these serves a different purpose. And the Avantones actually recreate a bass lacking studio monitor. So they kind of recreate the idea of what it's like to listen on a laptop or listen on an iPhone. And so in many cases, like, you don't have to have the Avantones, but it allows you to mix for that without having to bounce your track, go take it out to your laptop or take it to your iPhone and listen to it on those speakers. You're able to just switch between these 3 here and go to those Avantones and listen on the Avantones themselves for a little bit. So thinking about that can be a huge benefiting factor to your mixes going forward, because there's been many times where you think it sounds good on the speakers that you're working on, or you think it sounds good on your laptop, and then it turns out it sounds drastically different on someone else's laptop. And that, in the end, is one of the reasons you're going to get those comments where people are like, oh man, it doesn't sound very good, and you're like, but this sounds great, and other people think it sounds great, and some people love it and some people don't. And that brings me to my last bonus tip for you guys. Alright, so one more bonus tip for you, and this one I think is really important because I have dealt with this a lot, and I think anybody who creates content for the internet deals with this. You're not going to make everyone happy. And this is true about your audio, this is true about your videos, this is true about all of it. You're never going to make every single person happy. And, you know, I don't know if I've ever thought that I would make everyone happy, but there are definitely times where I think it's the best video I've ever produced. I think the audio sounds better than it's ever sounded. I think, you know, the people in the video or the concept of the video, etc., etc. I think it's such an awesome video, or I'm so proud of it, and I put it out on the internet, and there's people who are like, wow, this is the best video I've ever seen in my entire life. And on the same video, people are like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. Or, specifically related to audio, this is always my favorite. I'll post a video and I love the mix, and multiple audio engineers who know what they're doing have told me, man, this is such an incredible mix. It's sounding so good. And I'll put it out and I'll get like so many comments. They're like, wow, the mix sounds better than ever. This is fantastic. Great job. And then on the same video that someone says, that's the best snare sound I've ever heard, someone comes back and says, that's like the worst snare sound I've ever heard. You're like, what? How can it be the best snare sound and the worst snare sound in the same video? Like I'm not too prideful to say that like my drum mixing or anything like that is the best in the world. It's not. Like it certainly could always use adjustment and betterment, and but there's like, for people to think that in the same video, some people think it's the best sound ever and some people think it's the worst sound ever, that just shows you, first off, the internet, but secondly, the fact that you're never going to make everyone happy. And it's not just snare sound, it's everything. Like whatever you're doing, like people may say your voice sounds weird. People may say that your mix is just it doesn't come through to them. They don't like it. They don't like what you do here. They don't. So you have to understand that putting this content out is going to result in some negative feedback, most likely. I mean, maybe not. A lot of times when you're just starting out, sometimes you can get away with it for a while before you get to the people that, because somehow you're finding just quality people. But there's definitely people who are not afraid to say things on the internet. So don't get your feelings hurt. Don't feel like you're ever a failure just because someone doesn't like what you're doing. If you're proud of it, then continue to do it and love it, because that's what it's about, Like I've put out so many videos that I'm proud of that other people don't like or haven't done as well as I thought they would, or even with YouTube algorithms, half the time you put out a video and you can't control whether it gets a lot of views or it doesn't get any views. It's up to YouTube to push it out to people or not push it out to people, to promote it or not to promote it, to put it alongside relevant videos that people click on it, etc., etc., So just remember, do the best that you can do and be proud of your content. And if you're proud of it, then put it out there. And not everyone is going to love it necessarily, but there will be people who love it, and there will be people that it makes a difference in their lives and will bring entertainment and inspiration to them. So keep doing it. Keep being a content creator. Thank you so much for all the work you put into what you do. And just remember to keep a thick skin and just enjoy what you do. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down in the description. If you have any questions or you have any thoughts, I hope that this has helped. I hope that it helps you make even better YouTube videos than you have in the past. And I really hope that it just inspires you to get out there and do what it is that you love and create content, because in this day and age, the fact that you can access whatever on the internet at any time, to be able to learn something, to be able to enjoy something, to be able to be entertained, to be able to be inspired, to have someone to look up to. Like there's so much value in the internet and the access that people of all ages, and especially kids, look up to people that have these YouTube videos. So be a great role model, create awesome content, and inspire and entertain people. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good one.